index finger. Just like,
oh my god, I did it.
Or what you did.
Just one though.
Relax.
Just hit me around the ear.
I can't do it without like that high. Like I need that effort. How did we start last time?
We just like,
Oh, this is. I guess this is the first time because
Yeah,
this is the last time.
Well,
we
yeah, this is the
count.
first time because Abid up.
so bad. So bad.
He forgot to press the
it
big
literally
fat
is
red
Nokia
button.
Stuff. That's the problem.
He forgot to press the big fat red button.
You had one job.
One job.
What did you guys think about Anthony Joshua's comments about his niece and his son and the double standards that he has?
I'm not aware of what these comments are.
So basically, in an interview with GQ last year, he was like, my son, I'm really like, I'm not strict with my son. He can do whatever he wants. He can be a man's man. He can be a Jack the Lad. He can spread his wings. It's up to him. But with my niece, like, she's going to be someone's wife one day. She needs to have like family values. She needs to be grounded. That none of the Jack the Lad nonsense for her. Sort of thing. But you can really see the double standards, can't you? Like, why does his son have to be a Jack the Lad kind of figure? And what is a man's man anyway? Like, considering the fact that Anthony Joshua is like a masculine figure. He's a boxing champion. He is the epitome of masculinity. Do you know what I mean? So like, so what's going to happen if his son says to him like, oh dad, I want to be a ballerina or something like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why does he have the pressure of having to be a Jack the Lad? And also, why does his nephew have all these like restrictions on her? Why does she have to be thinking about her family values?
His niece.
Why is his niece? What did I say? Nephew?
Nephew.
Did I say nephew more than once?
It's fine.
Then can we start over?
No, we don't need to. It's
fine.
Okay, his niece, sorry.
It's natural.
I've got nervous. I was on the floor and I'm like... Anyways, so why does his niece like have to have all these restrictions on her? Why does she have to think about her life in terms of what she's going to be like in relation to like a man? Why does she have to think like a wife or whatever? Do you know what I mean? It's just like really hypocritical.
Again, you know when we're talking about innate nature,
innate misogyny,
that's
internalized misogyny.
Yeah, so I think it boils down to that. I guess when we have our sons and daughters as well, you're going to be a bit more protective, overprotective, let's say. Although my little nephew is still a toddler, I can see myself being a bit too overprotective. But then this whole thing will creep in.
Do you have a niece?
I have a niece, yeah. She's 4, yeah.
Do you treat them the same way? Like, not treat them, but do you have the same kind of expectations of them?
More or less, yeah. So, in a sense, where at the moment they're a bit too young to understand exactly what's going on. I think when it comes to that stage, like Anthony Joshua, it's like he's inbred into their like, oh yeah, I am going to be like this with my nephew, and I'm going to be like this with my niece. I would like to think I would educate myself against that. Yeah.
Also, do you think it's like, why are women, little girls even, why are they always sexualized? I mean, I'm sure he didn't mean to sexualize his own niece, but the fact that he's looking at her as someone else's future wife, that matures her unnecessarily, and it does sexualize her. Like, a wife is a mature womanly thing. This girl is 9 years old or something like that. Why are you thinking of her so much into the future? Why can't you see her for what she is, a little girl who can be whatever the hell she wants to be? If she wants to be a Jack the Lad, she should be allowed to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, why impose those kind of limitations?
Do you think his comments were a bit premature then, considering she was 9? But say she was a 16-year-old, and she was saying...
Even then, even if she was 30, you can't be like, oh, she's going to be someone's wife one day. She could very well live her whole life without being someone's wife. You would never say to a guy, oh, you're going to be someone's husband one day. You're never going to be someone's husband one day. You're going to be someone's husband. I'm not even making sense anymore.
Like, all we're hearing is just frequency now.
Look at that.
Like, you never say to a guy you're going to be someone's husband one day.
No.
Why are you laughing?
At the same time, I don't necessarily agree with Anthony Joshua, but I think with what he said, he's right in a way that guys and girls aren't different, and we need to stop pretending that we can... that they need to be treated, well, not treated exactly the same, because they should be treated exactly the same. Like Abid said with his nephew and niece, it's the same with me as well, my nephew and niece. They get exact same treatment, but they're very, very young. Okay. With adults, again, I'm not saying that they should be treated differently, but they're not the same. It's that, what was that they taught us at school? equal but not the same. Yeah. So equality, equal but not the same. And so again, I don't agree with what Anthony Joshua said about, you're going to be someone's wife somewhere, so you need to act a certain way, because that's not right. But at the same time, society and sort of culture, our culture, it might be also Anthony Joshua's culture. He's just British, isn't he? Or is he, what's his
No,
he's
Nigerian, isn't he?
I want to say Nigerian.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so
I remember after one of his fights, he put...
and his whole name, I'm pretty sure it was like a Yoruba name, so I'm sure it's...
Okay, so again, so with the sort of
Knowledge.
African and Asian culture,
Yeah.
we grow up to think like that, especially sort of that generation. Well, not Anthony Joshua's generation, but the one before that. So
maybe you learned from that.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, I'd like to think that I wouldn't be the same. But at the same time, if I had kids myself, I think I would apply the same principle in that they're equal but not the same. And no matter how much I'd hate to, society will tell me it's wrong. But I would treat them a little bit differently. So I would probably be a little bit more guarded, like so this is the same with my family as well. I'm allowed to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I can go out at any time of the night, to be honest, but my sisters don't have that same luxury.
No, same, yeah.
And in a way, I think I'd be the same. I think I'd let my son have more free reign than my daughter.
But why is that though? Like that kind of...
honestly, I don't have an explanation towards that. As in, although I have the similar things into...
Yeah, it's with every... I don't think it's even limited to race. Even a white family, I think the guy always has more
But it's because
freedom.
It's because of the thought that a man can protect himself. Well, again, I don't agree with that, because a woman can protect herself as well. You've got certainly more capable women than you
But
have.
also, like, why do we not put the onus on men? Like, because the idea is if women stay at home, they're safer, right? Which is true to some extent. But, like, why does a woman have to stay at home? Why does she have to take the responsibility of being safe? Why can't we teach our boys and our men not to be predators, not to make derogatory marks towards women, not to catcall, not to
we can't
chase them, not to be disrespectful,
we can't. I don't think we can, and I think it's
antagonize them.
I think it's something that...
What do you mean we can't?
Well, we've tried and we can't.
When did anyone try? Like, I don't remember anyone, not in my family at least, sitting down and speaking to the guys.
Oh, I see what you mean like that. I mean, as a society as a whole has tried to sort of clamp it down, but it still happens.
I don't think society's tried at all, not from my experience anyway.
Well, there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of YouTube is rife with it, Twitter is rife with it as well, with sort of, not shaming, because I guess it is shaming, but they deserve to be shamed, people that sort of catcall and stuff like that. We're not fully there, but we're making strides towards sort of changing society. But we have tried. I think there has been trials like that Me Too campaign. We discussed it last week before Abid had his boohoo.
Advertising.
Yes, right.
We need money.
Boohoo.com, please. Give me that.
Send us free gowns, please.
Give me that dress.
I would wear them, to be honest.
I would.
I wear them on Sundays.
Boohoo is good.
What, you going to catch him in a miniskirt?
They do men's clothes.
Oh, I'm sorry, maxi dress.
They do men's clothes too.
Really?
Yeah, they do.
I would really trust them to do men's clothes, wouldn't I?
Why? See, that's okay. We'll talk about this.
No, but they're cliche. No, their forte, you'd say, is female clothing.
Well, doesn't mean...
I don't think it is. I think it's both.
I really don't think so. Even if they venture out into men's clothes,
I think they advertise with mostly women's.
Yeah, that's what makes me think, oh, cool.
Yeah, but so if you saw they have a men's range, you wouldn't be like, oh, I don't really trust them. They always...
I'll be more skeptical than, for example, if I saw an Adidas.
But you have more chances of being unique if you were to shop at a place where it's primarily known for women's clothes.
Yeah, you kind of do look a little bit hipster, to be honest. Yeah. Okay.
You know, some podcasts are really, really specific. Like, there's one that they're quite successful. They only talk about books. There's another one. They only analyze the song lyrics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I thought it was quite interesting. Like, I guess we can cover everything.
I think you've got to be like really
knowledgeable.
into it. Like,
yeah, and we're not really knowledgeable.
And we only know little bits about everything, but not like lots about one thing.
Exactly.
That's my whole career, yeah. That
actually sums us up.
Well, that sums most people up. So we're just...
No, but some people are just
we're
stupid.
We're mediocre at a lot of things, basically. That's what it is.
Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about was International Women's Day. It was yesterday. Was it yesterday?
It was the day before.
Day before. Was it Friday?
Thursday.
Oh, was it Thursday? Okay, so all of these days just blend into one for me. Okay, so your thoughts on International Women's Day?
It's great.
It's great.
Why, like,
It is great.
It's amazing.
It's great. It's something some knobhead I saw on Twitter said, "How come there's not International Men's Day?"
There is International Men's Day.
There is. I know there is, but
the
why
weird
isn't
thing
it
is-
hyped up? At the same time, men. It's the same thing that people use sort of for racism. Why? Like, how come there's no racism towards white people? And this is again something we discussed last week.
Which you guys will never know.
Yes, that you'll never know. But it's the same sort of thing with how come you're not being racist to white people? Oh, how come you're being sexist? How come you're not being sexist to males?
Being inclusive, all that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. But
And
obviously,
the answer is?
I'll let you
I feel
say
like
it.
I feel like you're.
Do you want me to say it?
I want
Okay.
you to say it. I feel so proud.
Because we haven't been oppressed. We've always
cry.
been sort of.
I could cry.
It's the women that have been put down and the women that sort of
Exactly.
need. Not they don't need that day, but
It's a chance
it's
to
a chance to
appreciate
exactly.
the struggles of women historically
Exactly.
and to this day.
exactly. It's just like sort of Black History Month, same
Yeah.
as that. But a day. Do you think a day is enough? For instance.
Well, I think if it was more than a day, it would take away the novelty.
But then you got
of
Black
it.
History Month. So how come there's not Black sort of?
Because
a certain day?
that's too much history for one day.
Yeah, but
And
what do you mean? There's too much history. You're not.
There's-
What about the
it's a lot
more
suffragettes?
complex, yeah.
What about? So wouldn't you say it's the same with the females as well then? Because you could argue even
Yeah.
that even now it's still happening. Whereas racism is not as women's
The
rights,
achievements.
Is that everything,
achievements
or
of
is it not
women.
just a few particular things?
No, it's everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
it's more.
Just
than big.
appreciating
Then he has a point.
the beauty
Cool,
of a
you're right.
woman.
Not
Not beauty.
physics.
Sorry.
Sweetheart.
Not physical beauty. Sorry, I don't mean it like that. I meant sort
Stay
of.
woke. Stay woke.
Oh God,
No,
God.
no, own it, bro. Own it. But yeah. I like a little painting. So.
Painting from barking.
Who doesn't, man? We're all human.
What, huh?
Yeah.
Man.
Both
Women
things.
are beautiful, man.
They are beautiful.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
They are absolutely beautiful. But again, we're sexualizing women here. So
Yes.
Can you stop sexualizing women?
Then again,
Faima?
it's different if I do it. Well, say if a woman was jogging nearby and we all stared at her, like, obviously I shouldn't objectify her by staring, like, whatever. But at the same time, I don't pose a threat to her. Like,
that way.
I don't agree with
power
that.
dynamics, our power dynamics are pretty much the same, like, generally speaking anyway. Like, I couldn't
Okay, so
rape
this.
her.
Okay, so fair enough. So what you've just said now, it relates back to what we were just saying about Anthony Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
So why was he sort of treating his son? What would you say his son different to his niece,
His niece and nephew, isn't it?
or the niece and nephew? Well,
Son
basically
and
the
nephew.
boy and the
Son and
girl.
niece.
You-
Well, I can't get this right.
Son and
Son
niece.
and niece.
Yeah. So what you've just said right
Mm-hmm.
now just justifies what Anthony Joshua just said. So how can you
No,
believe
I'm not
that?
I'm not saying if I were to objectify a woman, that would be right.
But you just
Of course
said
that would be
the reason-
wrong.
Yeah, but you just said
but-
that you can't objectify her, whereas we would be objectifying her if we were thinking the
No,
exact same thing.
I can objectify her. I'm saying we could both be guilty of. Am I being too loud?
No, that's fine. Carry
Okay.
on.
No. We can both be guilty of objectifying, like a woman.
But you said not the same way.
Not in the same way, of course not. It's like.
But this again relates
It's
to
about the
part
power
where it said-
dynamics.
Exactly, and the power dynamics apply to also to Anthony Joshua's son and to his niece because they're the same but not equal. That's why he treats them a little bit differently. Again, I don't necessarily agree with Anthony Joshua, but what you just said is exactly the reason why Anthony Joshua said what he said. The power dynamics, and
Explain that in terms
so
of.
you
his
just
nephew,
said
niece and whatever.
you don't portray a threat to a lady jogging, right? Mm-hmm. Same with his niece, right? Well, obviously the predator for a niece would be a man.
Mm-hmm.
So the power dynamic between that a man and a woman is a little bit different to if a man's going out, a man like Anthony Joshua's son's going out, and well, to be honest, his threat is against still probably another man as well. But if it was a woman, the power dynamic is such that he's still he can. I'm not saying that he can't get raped by the woman, but it's less likely than if it was the other way around. And that's exactly why Anthony Joshua is probably a little bit more protective. That's why I'm more protective, or I will be more protective over my son. Sorry, over my daughter than over my son.
Going back to Anthony Joshua's comments,
Yeah.
he mentioned she should be more ladylike, all that. So he said a very long paragraph. I remember that little thing. Obviously, there are a few points that contribute towards this, where you normally do like, okay, cool, it's in support, or it's for her benefit to protect her from predators and all of this nonsense that we have. But then there are obviously a few bits and it's like, oh, she has to be ladylike, she has to behave, and
family values,
that sort of stuff. That might be okay, cool. That should be left to her.
Yeah,
and that is something that she should need to figure out herself.
It's not something that Anthony Joshua should be talking about, especially considering she's 9. Okay, so that's why I think that. So what were we talking about before that? So when you were saying that you can't you would objectify them. It wouldn't be the same level of objectification.
Now that we know what he's thinking, and this was what, last year or the year before?
Last year.
Last year. Do you think over the past year he would have unlearned the bad techniques?
Yeah, because I wrote an article about this, and I wrote that it was a year ago, and I hope that for his sake, anyway, that he realised the mistakes before people started talking about it. Because at the time, it was published in GQ magazine, and like, that's a huge magazine, so clearly people read it at the time and they didn't think anything was wrong with it. It's only now that people have looked at it through the lens of what is accepted now and not. In the space of 1 year, someone's looked at it and gone, oh my god, Anthony Joshua actually said this, like, how could we have not picked it up earlier? So I'm hoping anyway in that time that he's evolved since then, because I do believe people can grow and change.
Well, definitely, because
I hope for his sake, because I really like him. I think he's God's gift to women, but I do hope that he's changed.
You just objectified him there. So why are women allowed to objectify men? And
women are not allowed to. Women or men are not allowed to objectify
God's gift
either sex.
God's gift to women.
How is that objectification? I was saying he is a work of art, which he is.
If you said that about Jennifer Lawrence, like, her
if you say she's God's gift to women,
by
that's cool. You're saying you're admiring her beauty. That's not objectification.
You said his body.
Can I tell you what objectification means? Sorry.
You said his.
Stop getting closer. It's getting picked up by his mic. Because it sounds like he's shouting as well.
If you see a woman, there is no woman there, Abid. What?
Stop talking. Stop moving. Don't make a sound.
We have to protect them.
Because if they hear you, they hunt you. Emily Blunt, John Krasinski, A Quiet Place. In cinemas everywhere, April 5th, rated 15.
So if you were to see a woman jogging and you're like, oh, hot piece of ass.
Okay.
Well, that's objectification.
So if you see a man jogging and you're like,
that would also be objectification.
And then you say,
that would also be objectification. That would be wrong.
You see a man. Sorry, no. Let's not say a man's jogging. Let's say a man's boxing, right? And then you say, oh man, that's God's gift to women. Would that be objectifying a person?
Can you use a different phrase? Because I don't think that phrase itself is objectification.
It absolutely is, and this is why you'll get males like this. You get males that say exactly the same thing as you. Oh, her body is so fit, and then you would get offended by that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But that's the same.
I wouldn't get offended. Like, it's difficult because
it's not difficult. It's the same, and that's what again. It's come back to the same thing.
Objectification.
Women and men are equal, but they are not the same. Okay, and that's
I get that too. I don't think feminism isn't about a woman being exactly the same as a man.
Absolutely.
There are some things that women can't do that men can.
Yeah, to play devil's advocate, do you think sometimes feminism oversteps its sort of bounds? Do you think that
I think some feminists do. Some feminists
not feminism in general, but
wrong.
some feminists. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. There's a whole group of feminists called TERFs, and I can't remember what it stands for, but basically the gist of it is they're against trans women being recognised as women. And this is the whole branch of feminists. And well, I can appreciate where they're coming from, because if a guy has some sort of reconstructive surgery and becomes a woman, she does not know what it means to be a woman biologically and reproductively. She would not have had periods, wouldn't understand what it feels like, the stigma of it, the kind of personal experience of having a period at such a young age, about all these other things that women are inherently they have to deal with. Do you get it?
Yeah, but I still don't
So
agree
just by
with that.
virtue of looking like a woman doesn't always mean you are a woman. These are the views of some turfs. I don't think I share that view.
The reason why I don't agree with that view is because it defeats the whole purpose of feminism, which is to treat everyone the same regardless of sex, obviously, race, all these things. So if you're going to treat a transsexual differently, then you just defeated the purpose of feminism, of treating everyone the same.
That can be argued.
So
it is a minority group within feminists, though, generally.
Fair enough. It's like the ISIS of feminists, yeah?
No, I wouldn't say that because they don't hurt people.
Oh, okay, fair enough, okay. Okay, so that's international. As we speak, actually, today is Mother's Day. So,
Yes.
What
Happy
did you guys
Mother's
do for your
Day!
mothers today?
I haven't seen my mum today.
Oh, wow. Great
Because I left
daughter.
the house at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mrs. Bakar,
But
well
I
done.
did on Friday because
Well done raising a
all my
beautiful,
siblings were together.
appreciative young
Because my sister, alhamdulillah, she just passed her medicine degree.
woman. Oh,
So she became a
congratulations.
doctor on Friday.
Amazing.
And she also went to Africa the same night. So she's doing her elective in Malawi. So we all got together and we didn't really do anything for my mum, but I just got like her flowers and I just gave her a kiss. And that was my Mother's Day. Because I knew I wasn't really going to see her today.
Fair enough. Okay.
What did you guys do?
Well, yeah, we spent the day with my mum and my family.
Yeah.
Got flowers, got chocolates. Yeah, and then spent the day with my mum.
I didn't even know it was Mother's Day.
Yeah, you're rude, fam.
Wow.
Also, do you guys
Again,
celebrate Father's Day
Mrs.
and
Master,
Dad's Day?
Mrs. Master, you did a brilliant job in raising a
Yeah.
brilliant.
Hold on,
No, she
but-
did a good job.
hold
You
on,
watched your
hold on,
son.
hold on. But her other son did make up for it. That's the thing. His family got her flowers, mug.
But was that you though?
Oh no,
Well, she already had a mug. His name was Abid Master.
I know full names, man. They're gonna fire me. They're gonna fire me.
sorry.
I had your mug. You don't cheat your mama, right?
Do you guys celebrate Father's Day?
Absolutely, yeah, we do.
We don't.
We celebrate Father's Day.
Do you actually?
I do, yeah. Well,
Oh, that's so sweet.
we celebrate all of the days.
What
but-
do you do?
So we just like spend the day with my dad and getting presents as well. But I agree.
That's sweet. I like that. Because
Wait, why don't you celebrate Father's Day?
oh, Dad's a bit of a prick.
Is it?
Alhamdulillah. I mean, I do love him. Like, he's a good dad.
He's aight.
He's like,
Yeah,
Anyways,
I agree with you.
let's
You
not
don't have the
get
same
into that.
you don't have the same relationship with your dad with your mum. Same with me. I don't have the same relationship.
yeah,
with
that's what I
my
was going
dad.
to mention. Like, Asian boy, I think me and Abid have covered this before, but like, Asian boys seem to, generally speaking, have a more of a detached relationship with their dads.
Really?
Yeah, well,
Generally
Abid
speaking-
doesn't.
I
Abid
don't.
doesn't.
That's really good. I'm happy for you.
But-
But it doesn't go beyond.
It's not just Asian.
Sports.
It's not just Asian.
Yeah, that's
to be honest.
generally, yeah, actually.
It's not even generally, to be honest. It is, again, the same cultures I was mentioning before. So
Minority
sort
cultures.
of, yeah, exactly. Minority cultures. I don't know why it is. It's probably because they were brought up, the fathers were brought up in a certain way and they just tried to sort of impose the same sort of relationship that they had with
Yeah.
their fathers.
Also, do you think
Maybe
it's
the
anything
influences are different.
Yeah,
So,
do
for
you think it's
example, when they were
anything-
growing up,
to do with like men like showing emotion as well? Like,
Oh yeah, possibly. But the thing is,
you
my
wouldn't-
dad
yeah.
showed no emotion no visible emotion, until when was it? Until my sister got married, which was about 6 years ago. 6
you
years,
realise that.
5, 6,
Right.
and then he cried like a baby ever since,
Aw.
and he cries a lot more than
Did that
since
open
that
like
happened.
some
It
sort
did,
of floodgates?
it did, and he's a lot more sensitive than he was. Because when I was a kid growing up, he wasn't as, I don't know, he wasn't as sensitive. No, exactly. And
equally,
me
do
and
you
him-
think he will cry that much when you get married, or is it because obviously you're going to be in the house, whatever?
I'm
Or
not
is it
sure.
like the fact that his daughter is getting
I think
married?
it's his daughter, yeah. And
Okay.
again,
There's an actual leaving of
Yeah,
his
that
own,
is
his own kin.
heartbreaking.
exactly, yeah. So, like I said before, when I was growing up, we didn't have that sort of full relationship. But as sort of since my sisters got married, he's got a bit more emotional and he's got a bit, and he tries a lot more. Bless him,
That's good.
tries a lot more than he did when I was a youngster.
A similar situation where when I was younger, my dad was always there. As in, he always supported me and my brother. Always pushed us towards Islam. Always pushed us towards education, giving us the best that he could. But obviously, there were points where it's like, why is he doing that? Or things like that. But then I think as both of us got older, we've realised that, oh right, like he genuinely cares. And what over the years, what I've realised is, especially with Islam, he's never really pushed us. It's never been like, oh,
I think that's the best way to do it.
But he's actually encouraged us.
Yeah.
It's leading by example as well. So he goes to the mosque
so
5
good.
times a day.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh wow, that seems like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And now,
I think that's the best way to do it, because if you try to teach your kids through fear and like you're going to go to hell if you don't pray or whatever, they don't learn to love it. They learn to fear it, and they do it because they know they're going to get told off by their parents. Like I remember when I was a kid, me and my sister, sometimes we just like put water on our faces and be like, oh yeah, we've done wudu, we know we've prayed. We used to pretend, because we didn't fear God, we feared our parents. And I think if my parents did a better job of like teaching us through love and compassion what Islam like really means, maybe we would be different. But maybe they didn't know how to, so I can't.
There was a gentleman that I heard, very similar to what he said, called Yusha Evans, something like that. He's a revert himself. He was talking a few minutes about raising children at the right way. He said it in inverted, there isn't obviously one definitive way, but just tips and hints. So one of them he said was, to make them have a healthy dose of the fear of Allah.
Yeah.
So I was like,
it can't be the overriding factor, because kids they don't understand like things. Anyways.
And then he also encouraged like trying to make them fear you. So when they do something wrong, their first thought shouldn't be, oh, I hope my mom doesn't see this, I hope my dad doesn't hear this, that kind of thing. That shouldn't be the first thought. So I think there's no definitive way of trying to do that. But
yeah, and maybe we'll understand when we have kids. Maybe it'll be too difficult to do those things. But inshallah,
when God wills.
So Mother's Day, yeah, that was Mother's Day. I read something actually today where I think it was Waitrose. You used to work in Waitrose, didn't you?
U-Day.
Yeah, Waitrose.
Big up Waitrose.
Listen again, we're not
advertising.
We're not getting paid. Yeah. What is U-Day? So it's for maybe you don't know what it is. Okay, so U-Day, instead of Mother's Day, this is my whole sort of thing where I think the world is way too PC. And I was saying this last week, but again, Abid, thank you for having that.
No.
There was no last week.
Every time we mentioned it, edit it out.
Well,
what happened last week?
Yeah, so instead of having Mother's Day, they called it U-Day. So then it's
not discriminatory towards women without.
So that's where my whole point of the world being too PC. It's way too PC.
There's nothing wrong with the world being PC. Some people just
no. There's not. There's not. You're right. But the world is too PC.
No. There's nothing wrong with being PC. But the problem is when people interpret it wrongly. What Waitrose did is really stupid, because literally, Mother's Day is about the person who birthed you. It is not a question of gender, because even if your dad is a trans woman now, that person still did not birth you. Do you see? Like the Mother's Day, like Bruce Jenner can't celebrate Mother's Day, even though he is a woman. He can't celebrate. That's a valid point. But like, so Waitrose did not need to be.
Yeah, but
that's
you're
a
right.
really misguided idea of
but the thing is,
because
I see what
we've
you mean,
got it completely
but
wrong.
At the same time, Bruce Jenner doesn't think he's Kylie's mum. He doesn't think he's Kylie's mother.
So why did Waitrose feel the need to change a day that is historically about the person who gave birth to you? I think they thought they were being PC.
Guys, stop arguing.
They did it for a purpose, right? The reason why they did it is because you've got those loudmouths, the PC, the ultra left wing.
But literally, no one was questioning Mother's Day. I did not see a single group complain about Mother's Day not being inclusive, because every person on this earth was born.
Yeah. So
right?
I've got another thing for you as well.
So literally no one was saying, hey, it should be more inclusive to trans women. Trans women did not give birth.
No, exactly.
Maybe this was the point, just to keep people talking, maybe to further.
It could be a marketing thing.
Maybe, but I doubt it was a marketing thing. It was a little paragraph at the bottom of one of the articles. One of the rags. I can't remember which one. But there's another thing I saw as well. So Bruno Mars. Right, he's been accused of being a cultural appropriator. He's not. I'm sorry, but this is. I read something on Twitter. Right, some guy said, some lady said, sorry, that he's not allowed to do what he does because he's not black. So do you want him to just be like Elvis Presley and be like? Do you want him to Elvis Presley up and be like? A little less conversation, yeah, is that what you want him to do? He's not allowed to do. This is again another scenario where I think you're being we're being way too PC.
Remember we were talking about appreciation, appropriation. There's
a
fine line. People think there's a fine line.
It's hard with Bruno Mars. He's made a whole career with this kind of music. So like, if you say to him,
So what? He's not allowed to do hip hop
No,
now.
I did not say which side I'm on.
I think
so.
his popular songs, the ones that obviously
Yeah, his
he's
big
made
hits.
singles out of, his bigger hits,
Yeah.
the ones that his label actually put across.
But now that he's been so successful at doing it, it's like you can't say to him like make white people music. Do you know what I mean?
But exactly, this is what I mean, right? So with music, it's okay. But
It's not okay.
No, but the thing is, with
problem
music,
is
it was okay until someone decided to be offended by it. Okay, no, but just
Do you
listen.
think okay.
I honestly think that some people just like being offended, and that's why. Well, the world likes being offended now, whereas it wasn't the case 10 years ago. People didn't
were
get
still
offended. As easily. People weren't
weren't
offended as
vocal about
easily.
it because they didn't think there was a backing.
I really don't think so. I really don't think so. That lady that was having a go at Bruno Mars 10 years ago was like, why is he making black music for? Why is he making hip hop music?
I think
We're
10
only
years
allowed to do
ago,
that.
10 years ago, we wouldn't have had the capacity.
Maybe you're right. The
to
platform
think
wasn't
like
there.
this.
The platform was
because we weren't 10 years ago. We weren't questioning so much of like the big stuff that we question today. Questioning the big stuff.
How is that big
has
stuff?
led.
How is that big
no,
stuff?
I'm saying if cultural appropriation is here and like sexual harassment is here, whatever. Like nowadays, we have the capacity to talk about problematic things. So maybe from that has like derived all these other segments of problematicness. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
So those are just all words to me, to be honest. That was just a load of words.
So like one thing is 10 years ago, we didn't even know what was wrong because we didn't have the words to say they were wrong. And now that we're realizing there is so much wrong that we haven't questioned historically, now we're realizing, oh my god, X, Y, and Z are also problematic.
Well, you mentioned obviously realizing what's wrong, what's right, or what's a bit okay. These things that you can't just unlearn them overnight, isn't it?
No, you can't. That's why you have to make a fuss
At
about
the, at the same time,
You
there's
don't
some.
have to make a
You
fuss.
don't have to
Some
make a fuss
people
about it.
demean other people. Like, oh, you should know this, but it's like they haven't experienced it. For example,
Where's that cat again?
Oh.
It is.
Cool. Wow.
Abid's cat. He doesn't care about it.
I just realised they don't even know where we are.
I think it's better we keep it quiet until we're a bit more
in
famous.
Ibiza. We're in Ibiza.
A shady street in the back of East London somewhere. In Shadwell somewhere.
We're taking pills in
Listen,
Ibiza.
Shadwell's a real place, okay? Don't even try and make it out like it's not.
Don't diss ends.
Like
Shadwell's not ends, please.
For you.
Hooky, the essence. It's in the air.
What was khutki?
How do you know what Hutki is?
Did you tell me about it?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking, how does a
I went to
Gujarati know
my
what
boy's house
Hutki
one time. Wow. Oh hell no, he said don't do it if you want
is? Nah man, Hutki is not bad.
We don't need the fish though. You just
If
eat
you
like the
want to
rest of
miss
it,
2
innit?
weeks of your life, you have Woodkey.
What do you mean?
Now if you just that's it, gone.
Mate, listen,
You're
you've just
our
insulted the entire
food.
Bangladeshi
Yeah.
Okay,
audience.
tell
of
me,
it.
do
Bangladesh
you eat
is
Woodkey?
the 7th most populated country in the
Exactly.
world,
Sorry.
and you just diss an entire nation.
So wait,
There's a lot of Bengalis in this
hang on.
world, and you
So
just diss
the
all
whole
of them.
Bengali thing is built on Hoodki. Like that's
Exactly.
it. That's the final
Why
straw.
do you think we bought
Anyone
from
who plays
Pakistan?
Hoodki, that's it. All Bengalis are
Pakistan.
Pakistan
It was
weren't having
over-
it,
it was
so we
over
got rid
Hoodki.
of them.
It was of Hutki.
It was over Hutki.
Do you remember what happened
Everyone
with
just some elder Bengali gentleman guy. There was a war in Hawaii.
Yeah, they didn't like Hutki.
Oh man. Okay, so sorry, back to cultural appropriation.
Yeah, the learning and unlearning. As in, I find it a bit inappropriate. I want to.
Hold on? What do you think about him sort of being accused of being appropriate?
I don't think it should be because again, I think it's just what's being magnified are the songs that he's actually used black influence on, and obviously I think he did. There was a tweet where he said jazz, R&B, hip hop, funky
It made
house,
him
all that
what
stuff.
he
It's
is.
all origins of black music.
It
And
is.
I'm not the only one that uses it. There are other people that use it as well, and surely. If you're targeting me, then yeah, you've got a problem with the whole culture. Then
And that's exactly what. So why is it okay with music, but it's not okay with other
Who
things?
said,
Like,
who said it was okay with music?
I have no problem with him doing that. I have no
Yeah,
problems
did you-
with him. So you just said so you're not okay with him doing that then?
I'm on the fence about it.
I'm absolutely
I think with
not
him,
on
he's
the
an
fence with it.
exceptional case.
Why is he exceptional?
Because-
Why have you allowed him to be appropriate?
No,
than
because
someone else?
normally I'm like, that's appropriation, but this is the first time where I'm like, I don't know. Only because appropriation is a lot about credit and origin. Bruno Mars has given credit to black culture and black art.
He has
I mean,
absolutely.
And he's
best
told-
mate and producer.
Yeah, and he
who was in
works
the video.
exactly. And he
His
always works.
entourage is also.
And he always works with black people.
Yeah.
And he's like said like in previous I don't know if it was awards or whatever, but he's always thanked the culture because that's where his
producers and-
influences
yeah.
come from. So he's given like them credit where credit has been due. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I would never say to someone you can't do what you love doing and what you're good at doing, and he is good at what he does. But at the same time, it is black art.
Okay, so
it's
I've got a question
really
for you.
confusing.
I've got a question for you. It's not confusing for me at all because
Well, I'm glad.
Let me give you a question.
Can I interrupt? He isn't white at the same time. He's not white.
No, he's not white, but he's
half
like
Filipino. Half
Yeah,
Hawaiian.
appropriation happens.
Monopoly is back at McDonald's, and with millions of chances to win stuff like $100,000 and McDonald's food prizes, winning feels as likely as hearing a talent show judge say,
I don't like it. I love it!
with that many chances to win with Monopoly at McDonald's, you'd better get peeling. Ends 1st of May. Selected items in UK restaurants from 10:30am. Subject to availability. 16 or over to play. For price conditions and other rules, visit mcdonalds.co.uk/monopoly or see in restaurants.
Appropriation, I think, is more problematic when white people do it because, again, the
oh
power things.
no,
Power
you
dynamics.
didn't say that.
Only because of power dynamics.
No, again, I don't agree with that at all. So this is, I'm not trying to be one of those people that's like, oh, you can't be racist to, you can't be racist to white people, that kind of thing.
Didn't we discuss
because
this?
You can be discriminative, but I don't think you can be racist.
you can't,
Tell him, Bill, tell him.
you can't say that at all. You
William over there created racism, so
okay, so can I just ask you a question then, Faima? So, with sort of black music, so hip hop, R&B, all of those sorts of music, grime as well. I'm guessing. Would we put that down as
the Daily Mail? The way they portray grime, disgusting.
And you know the sad thing
They hate
is, some of the people that write it are like my friends.
Legit.
The one that wrote about Storm's, yalla, something like that.
What was it?
No, actually, it's on the paper anyway. So, but
you
no,
can
like
find it if
friends.
you Google it. If you
Yeah,
Google
exactly.
it, you'll find it.
Don't Google it now. No, I was just.
Okay,
talking
can
to you guys.
I go with my point then? Yeah. So my
And
point.
continue.
When does it stop being appropriation? Is it theirs? It's not theirs. Is it something that's off limits for white people?
I know
now?
what you're saying. Is like, do they own it?
Yeah, do they
That's what
own
I'm
it?
asking.
Do they own it? And that's the answer to that question
Hmm.
will be why I don't sort of, I will never understand.
It's not confined to anyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's free to use.
And
it.
that's why it's not just confined to music either. It's confined to other cultures as well. So, like you were saying with the sari example the other day, if a white person wore a sari, I would have no problems with that. Providing that they're doing it for, like, if they're going to a...
So it depends on the context, doesn't it?
It does depend on context.
Yeah.
I
have no
Wait,
problem.
it does or
with
it doesn't? Hold up, what?
It doesn't. I don't really...
Oh, it doesn't? Oh.
No. So, I wouldn't mind that. But then, this example that we gave last week was a white person wearing sort of braids or having dreadlocks.
Oh, yeah.
Now, again, I have no problem with that. And probably because I'm probably not black, that's probably why I don't have a problem with it. At the same time, I'll give you the example. If someone was wearing a sort of a sherwani or a sari, so if it was sort of,
But was not.
but was not Bengali or South Asian, I wouldn't give the slightest.
Well, me and Abid were talking about this earlier,
Feces.
and we think it.
What do you mean
Stop
we?
making
Stop
points.
trying to make your
Like,
point.
feces. If you're going to a wedding and your black friend or white friend says, "Oh, I want to wear a sari or lehenga, whatever," because she doesn't want to stand out in her Western clothes, that's cool because she's doing it to like kind of fit in. She's appreciating the culture, or whatever. She's just doing it.
She's appreciating the environment she's going to be in. So
Exactly. She's respecting it, if anything. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if Becky wants to go to a festival wearing a bindi or
Well, but the thing is, Becky is a real person because there's lots of white people that wear bindis, like they wear these little head. And do you have a problem with that?
I do.
I have no problem with
They
that.
don't understand the context. I understand.
But do
why
you have
they
a problem with that?
Again, it comes down to why they're doing it.
No, because it looks nice. The same reason why
So
Asians wear it.
so yeah.
But then they'll be the same people that will cuss brown people for wearing.
No, but
other
let's
things.
not assume
Even
The
that.
same people
That's
that go home
assumptions.
wearing the same thing.
That's assumptions. That's assumptions.
Okay, even if they're not doing that, why do they get to benefit of the nice aesthetic of a culture that they know nothing
Why
about? Firstly,
not?
also of a culture that they don't stick up for.
Why not?
What do you mean?
Unless
Why wouldn't they be
unless
able to-
they credit. And
Why
then
would they
be
even
like-
stick up for that
then-
culture? Listen, so
No, you
if
can't
you had
take-
it, do you
you
have
can't- you
we
can't
all have
make
sort of good white friends and sort of
Yeah, yeah.
non-Asian friends. So just imagine your best friend, right? Who's your best non-Asian friend, okay? And if they decided to wear sort of a bindi or a sherwani tomorrow, so say Jonathan was wearing a Sherwani.
He looks so cute.
He would look really cute in the thing. Would you care?
Shout out to Jonathan.
Would you care?
Put in your pants, please.
Would you care?
You haven't seen Jonathan.
No, but seriously, if you wore a Sherwani tomorrow,
Okay.
I wouldn't care. I wouldn't give it. You can't say, "Oh, he's not sticking up for our culture. He's not." He doesn't need to. It's the same sort of argument that people say they blame Muslims for when there's sort of terrorist accident. Oh, why aren't you sticking up? Why aren't you saying anything against it? Why are you condemn? We don't have to. We don't have to condemn. We hate those.
That's
ISIS.
a completely different thing.
It's the exact same thing as what you just said.
Really is
We
not.
diverge.
We diverge, but
That is
it's different. But at the same time, you're saying we need to.
Muslims don't have
Explain.
a responsibility to condemn terrorism because terrorism has nothing to do with them. It's to do with the
No, but that's the thing.
terrorists.
That's the thing. You're right, and that's
It's the
but
questions
link
before the
the link
condemning. Why
between
come you're not saying
the link
anything?
exactly what you just said. Right. So society. It's not really the link. It's what society tells us. So society says, why don't those Muslims?
Say
Muslims?
sorry or something.
Yeah. Why don't they condemn them? And it's the same with the cultural appropriation things as well. Why do they have to defend us? Like, what? Why do they have to
Okay,
do that?
fine. They don't have to defend us, but
But
why?
you said one of the points.
No. Okay, okay. So they don't have to defend us, but why do they get to benefit of
And
a small compartment of our culture?
why do we benefit from? Because we benefit from British culture. I know we are British, but let's
Yeah, exactly. We are British.
we are
benefit
British.
from
Okay,
it.
so our
we
parents,
grew up in Britain.
our
We're owed everything.
our parents
we're
aren't
owed.
British. Our parents aren't born British. Why do they get to eat fish and chips without getting?
Because they've lived here and they've
So-
worked hard for it. How has Becky
Okay,
gone
so
to Coachella
you're telling me.
worked for that?
Okay, so you're telling if my uncle from Bangladesh comes in and says,
Becky's getting some real stick today.
Becky is getting Becky. Sorry, Becky.
She's getting
I
shot
know,
on.
Becky.
Okay, so if my uncle from Bangladesh comes down, yeah, and he says, "Oh, can I have some fish and chips?" Or actually, to make it a little bit more sort of accurate, can I have some fish and chips? You would accuse him of cultural appropriation.
How the food is a very different matter.
Okay, fine.
Food is different.
He wears a shirt and he wears a tie
White
because
people-
those are white people things.
No, they're not.
We used to wear sherwanis.
White people things are wearing an English
Okay.
shirt in 4-degree weather. Like,
Okay, so listen, the shirt. Who made the shirt?
I actually don't know.
I'll probably be my cousin, I'll be honest.
No, but yeah, you're right. But who?
Stitch it together.
Do you think that the Bangladesh wore shirts before England did?
Could have done.
They didn't. It's British India. Well, the British that brought it to India.
I give it. It's more part of British culture than it is part of Bengali or South Asian culture.
They
We don't know
made
because
they
we're
made
in
so much
Africa.
stuff. They made so much stuff. They brought it to British
See,
India.
that's
The
our
British
stuff.
colony, the British colony obviously colonized all these countries. That's the reason why we have
It came to
everything.
us, yeah.
Again, this is one of the points. This is an argument for what you're saying, because obviously the British colonized all of our countries, and that's why we are the way we are. So that's why I could see where you're coming from, where we can't be accused of cultural appropriation. But at the same time, if my uncle from Bangladesh comes over and says he wants to do something completely British, we wouldn't accuse him of doing anything wrong. And I don't think it's fair that we do it.
Because, can I say,
Yeah.
if your uncle decides to take a British staple, let's say a shirt, he wears it, no one's going to turn around and be like, whoa, Abdullah is looking so fine. Like, they might within
They
the
would.
community.
They
might
would.
within the community.
But they would. But the thing is, they would, because
Becky on the street is not going to look at him and be like, whoa, that guy is looking kind of fly. Do you see?
but they would. That's the thing, they would. If the Asian country,
But if Becky went to Coachella with the bindi on, people
yeah, but
might
Becky
be
with a bindi would look
oh,
fly.
so revolution. Kendall Jenner. Which one's Kendall Jenner?
Was it?
The tall, skinny
She's the hot one.
one.
No, Kendall Jenner's the only, literally the only hot one.
I know someone who thinks Kylie's hot, so that doesn't help me in any way. Kendall Jenner wore a long dress over trousers. Now, does that remind you of anything?
A longie.
Kameez!
Oh, shout out to me.
It's a kameez. She wore a very similar kameez-like thing, and suddenly all the fashion magazines, people are tweeting saying Kendall Jenner has revolutionized
But that's not
fashion.
Kendall's fault. That is the people who are writing all these articles.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is, why do we rely on a white Western model or brand or whatever to put Asian culture, black culture on the map?
You're right. I don't agree with that, and that's
so,
not.
Like,
that's not
let's say
Kendall's
your
fault.
uncle.
Yeah.
Your uncle wearing a shirt isn't going to revolutionize fashion.
Okay.
Isn't going to put white people's isn't going to make white people's clothes look cool, because only a white person will ever be able to do that. The problem is, why are white people the default setting and everything?
Something we love to do. It's because we live in Britain. That's the reason why. And we live in the US, and all those countries, the big countries. Well, it's obviously the white countries that are main Western media. Okay, and that's the reason why it will happen. The thing is, there's another thing. We love to be PC. We love to be offended. And another thing is that we love to, I know you might not like to admit, but we like to segregate ourselves, put ourselves in sort of categories.
Makes us unique.
Yeah, but that is actually counterproductive. So all of this stuff, Asian culture, black culture, why is Becky off the street thing? Why Becky off the street putting a bindi on? Yeah, he actually does more bad than he does good. He actually does more bad than he does good.
Okay, Akramul, you're really like bordering on like the whole.
I honestly.
You're literally representing the white establishment voice right now, and I can't deal.
Brexit means Brexit.
No. I'm not. The thing is,
really think
I'm not.
that you've been brainwashed.
I've not been brainwashed. I just don't believe.
Stop being up white people's bum.
I'm not because it would be the same. I'm not offended as easily, and that's the reason why.
Fair enough, you don't have to be offended.
The thing is, I don't agree. I see where cultural appropriation comes, and I agree with it to a certain extent, but I don't fully go behind like this Bruno Mars thing. Just proves that we've gone way too far than it needs to go.
I think what it's proved is it's difficult because there's a sliding scale of what is okay and what isn't, and it's really difficult to pinpoint. Like,
you're right.
Is music out of reach? Is food, like, can food be appropriated?
But that's what you said. You actually set the boundaries yourself, and the boundaries are different for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said, you said when I put the food away, food's out of food. When I was talking about food, and then I said, it's music involved, and you're like, music.
With clothes and music, I find it can be appropriated. But with food,
so I just sit on the side where most of these things sit outside the boundary, whereas you obviously some of them are in. But the fact
and I think it's because I don't know, maybe because I work in the media, I see a lot of these voices, and
possibly
I'm just exposed to it a little bit more, and I kind of I see where they're coming from a lot more.
But the thing is, we're not all the same. We're not all the same. So that's why I'm not
saying you have to believe in what I believe.
But then you think I'm brainwashed, but I'm not brainwashed. I just don't get offended as easily. So Becky wearing a bindi doesn't offend me at all.
Yeah, but no, the only reason I said you're being brainwashed
I don't see it behind. I don't see. Oh, look, I don't see it as. Oh, look, Becky's taking something off my culture without crediting us. I don't give a. I don't see it that way, and that's not because I've been brainwashed.
Yeah,
that's just because I'm not programmed to see it like that.
Yeah, no,
sorry, let me just finish.
Okay,
so whereas the media, including yourself and your colleagues as well, they make it as if they write these articles that make people think of it like that, and I will never think of it like that.
The story comes after the people, though. We write about what people are talking about.
No, you don't. Sometimes journalists, they just make up stories.
They do. I don't know why it's so shocking.
No, they do. They make. I don't know why. They make up stories to fit their narrative.
They do.
And no, it's not something that you can say because it's true, and they fit their narrative. They create a narrative. They fit a story later, and it fits the narrative.
They do. That what you're describing is very
it's commonplace.
Right wing.
It's not just right wing either. It's very right wing, and it's also very left wing as well. It's the extremes.
Yeah, extremes. I suppose. You're right, but.
And that's why I'm sorry, but you can call me brainwashed, but I don't. You can call me up a white man's butt, but
listen,
I'm not. And
you're very entitled to your.
There's a lot of things.
No, you're right, and I completely see where you're coming from. The only reason I accused you of being brainwashed is because you used a rhetoric that white people use a lot, and that is.
But white people use it because.
And that is, why do you have to be so offended by these things? You're being divisive by calling it out. Do you see?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't get why people would say that, because that assumes that the people of colour, the offended, the minority, they've got the duty to keep the peace. Why can we not be divisive?
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Why do we have to keep it brushed under the carpet? If I'm offended by it, I'm going to bloody make like some noise about it because it offended me. Why do I have to... Like, why are you going to accuse me of being divisive? Like, just because it's going to cause more problems or it's going to be uncomfortable to talk about doesn't mean it shouldn't be talked about.
No, absolutely, and I agree with that. And that's not just for a white man speaking to an Asian man or a person of colour. That's for anything. Yeah, so I agree with that. That's whether you're talking about race, anything. Okay, but I agree with that. At the same time, My reasons for what I said aren't because I'm up a white man's arse. It's because I just genuinely, I'm not offended by everything I see in the media, and I don't feel like I should be. And I feel like every time I watch the media or if I read an article, someone's telling me I should be offended by something, and I'm like, I couldn't give the slice of craps or slice of feces. Sorry, we're not allowed to say the word.
But that's you.
Yeah, but that's
like,
me,
yeah,
and
exactly.
I think there's a lot of people like me. But then there's a lot of people that are like yourself that are offended by these things, and I don't have any problem with you being offended by it, but just don't try and make me offended by it because I'm not offended.
Yeah, but
and not you. I don't mean yourself, but like your colleagues, journalists.
I feel like though when I write about why something is problematic, I'm not trying to convince other people to believe the same thing. I'm kind of just trying to get them to realize and to question why things are the way they are. And if it's like, you know, at school, I don't know if they ever taught you critical thinking.
Yes, they did.
So basically it makes you think outside.
It makes you wonder why.
Yeah, why
things
are
are the way
the status quo? Like why you know how will I mean?
But the thing is, I agree with that. But then stuff like that, the bindi. Why do we have to think about that more than it is? Like it never would cross my head until it's brought up effectively. Corner is a little bit different. Corner is obviously, again, because of the history that behind sort of black being sort of
but do you think that the fact of someone being upset by something is enough for it to be validated?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so, no.
Because then people are way too sensitive.
So a whole group of people are upset by
it. Why are you offended by it?
I think it's valid to have a conversation about it. And if there's a valid reason to be offended, then I feel like the apology should be made. But I don't feel like by someone being offended, because people are way too offended, way too easily offended these days. So I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I think a discussion should be made, because if someone is offended by that, it's important to find out why they're offended by that.
But like you said, though, it is very subjective. Like what a person thinks they are owed an apology to, you might not think they deserve one.
Yeah.
So like, why?
But then you just have to agree to disagree there, because not everyone's going to believe the same thing. So you can't just apologize because you can't apologize.
But how do you agree to disagree with the public then? Like, do you just not talk about it? Like in terms of
No. I mean, as in, if someone's offended, but it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
It is a hard one. It's not something that we can obviously resolve.
Yeah, for sure.
Resolve.
If he's good enough for me,
he's good enough for you. He scores another few, then I'll be Muslim too.
If he's good enough for me,
he's good enough for you. He's sitting in the mosque, that's where I wanna be. La 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 la.